Good evening, WNWP. Good evening, World Nature and Wildlife Photographers. Today we are back with another scheduled webinar with Lenny Koshal Part 3. And today we will be discussing about the great Maasai Mara, the heart of Kenya, and the most attractive Big Five. Today's session is going to be Lion King material, I say. We have Lenny Koshal with us. I have a small video of Lenny Koshal to introduce Lenny with the entire essence of Kenyan Maasai culture. And after that, Lenny will take over the stage. So I'm just playing the video that will give you a proper understanding about Kenya, its culture, and definitely it will introduce Lenny very, very well for all of you.
Meet Lenny.
Jambo Jambo, my name is Lenny.
Lenny was our guide during our 7-day safari trip, and it was awesome.
But I'm not your ordinary guide. I'm a Maasai warrior.
And being a warrior is no easy task. Your teeth get pulled, you get publicly circumcised at 16, and you must kill a lion.
But isn't killing lions illegal?
Yes, killing of lions is not only legal, but wrong. We have to preserve these beautiful animals.
If you can't kill lions, no one can become a warrior.
Not quite. Lenny, please explain.
Nowadays, the Maasai people have changed their ways by not killing the lions, but instead to go to the university to bring degrees.
And along with that comes a new integration to society, which allows them to be more productive and provide for their families in a better way.
I'm still a level guide, and I have a diploma in tourism and wildlife management. I have a degree in wildlife and conservation. I also speak 3 languages fluently.
If there is one thing that impressed me the most about the Maasai, is that they are fully aware of the outside world and they don't plan to be left behind.
So Lenny, asante sana kaka for showing us the great beauties of Kenya.
Karibu sana.
Perfect.
Over to you, Lenny. The stage is all
Thank you.
yours. We are all desperately waiting to hear from you about Maasai Mara.
First of all, thank you so much, Paul, for that video.
Thank you.
And my name is Lenny. I'm from Kenya. We are actually going to do a game drive today through Maasai Mara National Reserve, but unfortunately not live, but virtually. But we will still be able to learn a lot at the same time. And my name is Lenny Koshal. I'm a professional guide from Kenya. And Kenya is one of the most beautiful countries that you can travel to as a photographer, as a family tourist, and all that. So welcome very much for this session today, whereby Maasai Mara National Reserve is actually found in the Rift Valley, which is around 270 kilometers away from the city of Nairobi, which is actually the capital city of Kenya, with Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as one of the East African biggest airports. So I will be able to pick you from the airport and take you direct to Maasai Mara for lunch if you arrive early in the morning. So it will take us around 4.5 to 5 hours, or even less, if only we will not have a lot of stops. But of course, we will have some stops. The first one will be when we reach the Great Rift Valley, which is actually a valley that starts from Israel to Southern Africa, Mozambique. It's around 9,600 kilometers long. So we have to stop there as our first stopping point, whereby you will get some information about the formation of the Rift Valley, and also about the formation of the road that we'll be using, which was formed during the Second World War when Kenya was an East Africa British colony. So those are some of the information that you'll get from the first stop. Then the second stop may be at Narok town for some washroom, toilet break, or maybe if someone want to buy some snack or extra thing for himself or herself on a private basis and all that. So welcome to Maasai Mara National Reserve, and actually the roads are now very good. It is all asphalt, it is tarmac from the city of Nairobi to the gate of Maasai Mara National Reserve, that is Sekenani Gate. So this park was actually formed, it was established in 1961, whereby it was only 520 kilometers square. That inclusive of Mara Triangle, of which I will show you the picture, and the main Maasai Mara. And then in 1961, the same year, the park was extended to be 1,824 kilometers square. And then after some years, that is 1974, the Maasai community actually were a bit saying a lot of park have been taken. So the county government or the Kenyan government had to return around 189 kilometers square to the Maasai community. Like to give it back to the community because the Maasai people are pastoralists. So they need a lot of space for livestock grazing and water for their animals. Then in 1976, again, a small part of the park was again cut to give to the Maasai people. That's around 162 kilometers square. And then in 1984, that is actually the time the Great Maasai Mara National Reserve retained its current size to be 1,510 kilometers square. And then now this Maasai Mara National Reserve, there is a river called Mara River that crosses the park. So on the western side of the river, there is a park called the Mara Triangle Conservancy. And on the eastern side of the Mara River, there is a park called the Maasai Mara, the main Maasai Mara National Reserve. So I will show you the pictures later. And then in 1994, that is actually the time the Mara Triangle and the main Mara form boundary, whereby the boundary is actually the Mara River. So there are two different managements in the same park, whereby the Kilgoris County government actually heads to manage the other side, and the Narok County government, County Council, had to manage the main Mara. But in 2001, the Mara Triangle and the community actually agreed to give out the Mara Triangle from the County Council management to the conservancy, to private management, whereby it is under Mara Conservancies. So that is actually the time the Maasai Mara National Reserve was given out. The Mara Triangle was given out to that side of conservancies managers. So I just want to share with you the picture of the Maasai Mara National Park Reserve, whereby this is the whole picture inclusive of Mara Triangle and the main Maasai Mara National Reserve. So if you can see my mouse, there is a river that is actually flowing where my mouse is going through, whereby it is actually the Mara River. This is Mara River flowing this way. So this is the boundary between the Mara Conservancies, the Mara Triangle Conservancy, and the main Maasai Mara National Reserve. So the total area of the both park is 1,510 kilometers, square kilometers. So you see, it's a lot of lodges inside the place. So it actually depends on the time that you're going to visit this area. what is your interest. If it is migration, it is definitely advisable for you to stay in this park, in these camps that are located not far from the Mara River, which are crossing points, and also the ones that are not far from the border. The black line you can see is the borderline, whereby the Sand River is. The Sand River is where it actually goes not far from Molole Gate, that is from the eastern side of the park. So this is Sand River, which is also, it is going through the border of Kenya and Tanzania, that is Serengeti and Masai Mara. So it is also one of the point where the wildebeest cross. So if it is definitely migration, you can actually choose to stay in one of the camps, that is Sand River or Salas. Those are the only camps along Sand River. And or if now it is Mara River, the wildebeest are crossing, you can definitely stay in one of these lodges along the Mara River. So there are some pictures of some lodges here. This is a Mara Sarova Lodge. It is actually almost towards the eastern side of the park. We have Sopa Lodge. It is a bit outside the park. We have Entim Lodge. It is perfect. It's along the Mara River, so it is the best when it comes to crossing. Also, when it comes to big camps, because the Mara River is actually in the middle of the two places, so you can easily access both sides. We have Sand River Camp. It's actually along the Sand River, the Kenya-Tanzanian border. And then we also have Tipilikwani Tedet Camp. It's along the Talek River. It's a bit on the eastern side of the park. And then we have Marabush Camp. It is also a perfect position in the middle of the park. You can actually be able to access Sand River and also the Mara River. Then we have the Mara Intrapid. It's not far from Marabush Camp. They are very, very close to each other. Then we have Serena Mara Lodge. It is in the Mara Triangle. It's one of the best places as well when it comes to Mara Triangle side, because it is actually in the middle of the Mara Triangle Conservancy. Then we have this other small camp called Centrim. This one is outside the park, so it can actually feed also families. So that is actually the map. That is the map of the place. So at least now you have an idea of where the camps are located when it comes to accommodations and all that. So this park actually, you see, it is written Maasai Mara National Reserve. Maasai is at the community. That is where the name comes from, because it is the Maasai people that live along the park or across around the park. And then Mara, when you go to inside the park of Maasai Mara, you will actually be able to see some small bushes that look like spots when you look in high elevation or at a distance. So they look like spots. We also have other trees called, this is actually what I mean. These are great plains of the Mara. When you look at the distance, you can see some small bushes that look like spots. So that is what the Maasai people call Mara. It is spots. So we call Mara in Maasai language. Also, when you go to the Mara Triangle site, you will see this kind of trees. They are called Balanitis aegyptica, or desert dust. These are very, very common trees that you can actually find in the western side of Maasai Mara National Reserve, that is the Mara Triangle Conservancy. So there are so many. So when you see them, they look like small dots when, for example, you are in high elevation. So that is actually what Maasai Mara means. And then in the Mara, we also have a lot of conservancies along the area, whereby all these resident animals can freely move from the main Mara Triangle to these conservancies. So I'm just going to mention some of these conservancies, whereby we have Koyaki, we have Siana Conservancy, we have Olaroro Conservancy, we have Maranot Conservancy, we have Leme Conservancy, We have Orkinyei Conservancy. We have Nabosho Conservancy. We also have Oljoroirowa Conservancy. We have Olaro Conservancy. And then we also have Olare Motoroki Conservancy. So it is just some small places. It's a conservancy whereby this resident animal can actually move at a time like this, or even during high time of rainfall season, because the grass are a bit shorter in the conservancies, because these are privately owned, and actually the land belongs to the Maasai people, so sometimes they can be allowed to graze the animals, cows in the park, so the grass are shorter. So these herbivores try to move to places where the grass are shorter and leave the main park where grass are much taller. And then we also have the big five in the park. The leopard is one of them. I'm just going to go through all the big five. And then today, we are actually going to discuss about the lion as one of the big five, because in the last two sessions, we did discuss about the leopard in Samburu. We also did discuss about rhino and buffalo in Lake Nakuru National Park. And then we did about elephant in Amboseli National Park. So today we are in the Mara, whereby the main topic will be migration, the roots and the wildebeest, and also a lion as one of the big five. So we have leopards in the area. We normally give them names as guides so that we can actually be able to identify them. This one is actually called Kazuri. It's along the Sand River area. Kikorok Sand River area for those that have been to the Mara. And then the first leopard here is actually a bit in the northwest of the park towards Kaboso area. Then this is the same one. We also have this one called Bahati. It's in the Rekero side, in the middle of the park, along Talek River. She's still the same. Then we have the elephant. We already discussed the elephant in the Amboseli National Park. We have the lion. This lion is actually called Morani. It's one of the lion of the musketeers. There are four brothers. This lion is in the group of the Scarface group, which Scarface is very, very famous. We also have the black rhinos. It's one of the big five as well. And then the buffalo is also in the list of the big five. And actually, it's one of the most dangerous of the big five that we have in Africa. Then we also have the Maasai community around the park, whereby the park is named after people that you can see here. I'm one of them. So we sometimes take clients to visit these Maasai villages and be able to see the cultural activities, or how the Maasai people live. How can these people survive along with these wild animals? How can they not conflict with these wild animals? So you will actually be able to learn all those things when you visit the Maasai village and see their cultural thing, whereby sometimes we make fire by rubbing sticks without using the matchbox and all that. So now we go to the wildebeest migration. So the wildebeest migration, it is actually an annual migration. It's a migration that happens annually between Masai Mara and Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, whereby, yeah.
Lenny, excuse me. Sorry to intervene. Could you please just take your mic a little more towards your chin so that your audio is more clearer?
Oh,
and
yes.
maybe, or you can just cover your jewelry with the fabric so that
Yeah.
it doesn't touch the jewelry while you're talking.
Making noise?
Yeah, it's giving that.
Your jewelry is twinkling a lot today.
Yes. Yeah, it's because they know
now
we
it's
are
clear.
discussing about Masai Mara, which is home. So
Beautiful
Yes.
jewelry, though.
yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Please continue.
Karibu sana. So can you hear me now? Perfect. So the wildebeest migration actually happens along the Mara Serengeti ecosystem. because all these, the Mara and the Serengeti, it is actually the same ecosystem, and that's why these wildebeest are roaming between the two parks every year. So there is actually a reason why the wildebeest migrate. Reason number one is food. When there is food in the Mara side, the wildebeest have to come. There is actually a season that is between June, July, August, September, October. The wildebeest actually have to migrate or have to move from Serengeti to Maasai Mara National Reserve. And also the time the wildebeest are in the Mara side or coming to Maasai Mara, it is also the mating season. The mating season starts from May, June, July. That is actually the time when these wildebeest are on the way. So the mating can happen on the way, or it can happen in large number when the wildebeest are already in Maasai Mara National Reserve. So the reason why the calving or giving birth normally happen in Serengeti National Park, it is because the park is so huge. The park is very big. So the wildebeest have enough room or space for them to give the calf time to grow up and be able to cross some rivers like River Grumeti and also Mara River, which are the most or the biggest challenge these wildebeest have during migration. So the picture you can see is actually the migratory route of this wildebeest when they move from Serengeti to Masai Mara or from Masai Mara to Serengeti. So the arrows you can see are actually showing the time of the year where the wildebeest are in a specific place, but sometimes it can change as per the availability of food in the place that these wildebeest are going. So in the picture you can see, you see the wildebeest arrive in the Mara in the month of August, but like 2018, the wildebeest actually arrive in Masai Mara in mid-May. That means the availability of food in Serengeti National Park was more or less compared to Masai Mara, whereby these wildebeest are only in Masai Mara for 3 to 4 months. Then the rest of the year, they are in Serengeti National Reserve. So in this picture, it can only show us the route, whereby in the month of January, February, March, the wildebeest are supposed to be in a place called Ndutu, whereby you can actually be able to see Lake Ndutu in my mouse. This is where the wildebeest mostly big numbers, thousands of them give birth. So people book safaris in the month of February, March to go to January, February, mid-January, mainly February, up to mid-March or even end March to go and see what is called calving season in Ndutu. That is part of Serengeti National Park. It's actually almost between Serengeti and Ngorongoro National Park. So this is where calving takes place. So in this map, you can actually be able to see some arrows are going down and then again to the eastern side and back to the western side. This actually is showing us the movement of wildebeest due to availability of food, because sometimes it rains in some parts of the park because the whole area of Masai Mara ecosystem Serengeti, it covers around 25,000 square kilometers. That is actually a very, very huge land, whereby if it rains, for example, in the eastern side, that is a Loliondo area, if the wildebeest were already in the central and there is no green lash, because the wildebeest try to follow the green lash, short grass green, they can definitely move from central Serengeti back to the western side, that is Loliondo side. And then if it is now time for them to go to Masai Mara National Reserve, they can actually move to Masai Mara towards Sand River area, instead of them going all the way to to cross Mara River in Tanzanian side, and then again to go to Mara Triangle side, so they can decide to start in Sand River side. So this is actually the Mara River, and this is River Gurumeti. So when these wildebeests go in this cycle, River Gurumeti is a very, very big river, whereby it's a big challenge for the wildebeest to cross because of danger. It's stiff in some side, and also it has a lot of predators that can actually be able to kill them, like lions, leopard, and even crocodiles at crossing points, or even they can be swept away by floods and they die. So this is also the Mara River. So Mara River is actually the main one that they cross many times, because the moment they come to Maasai Mara National Reserve, they will be crossing now and then Mara River from main Mara to Mara Triangle to main Mara. So this is actually the place where the main crossings take place. So in those 3-4 months that the wildebeest will be in the Maasai Mara National Reserve, you can actually be able to witness this kind of crossing more than once. So that is actually the sounds that these wildebeest make. You'll be like crazy when you see this crossing. It is something that can even make you cry because of happiness. So it is one of the best things you can actually, or you have to see for life, because it is something that is very uncommon. You are very, very lucky for someone to see such a scenario or such a phenomenon thing in the wild. So this is actually the Mara River. They cross the Mara River to go to the Mara Triangle. They're actually going from the main Mara to the western side, that is the Mara Triangle. And then the same wildebeest, after 1 week, they might be able to cross to come back to the main Mara. Then you can see the water in this river is a bit small. This is actually the Sand River. Sand River water is very small. So the wildebeest actually, they are maybe from the Loliondo side, so they decide to cross from the Mara River, from the Sand River. So in this side where my mouse is, it is actually Serengeti National Park, and the side the wildebeest are going is the main Maasai Mara National Reserve. So they can actually be able to cross Sand River on main Maasai Mara River. And then in this Sand River, the wildebeest normally don't get any challenge because of the crocodiles. The main challenge of this wildebeest along the Sand River is lions. Remember, we have these lions that roam or have territories along the Kenyan-Tanzanian border, that is Serengeti and Maasai Mara. So they normally target them when they are crossing these places. As you can see in this video, towards the end of the video, the wildebeest were crossing, and then suddenly they want like to go back to Serengeti side, like this one. This is because maybe there are some lions. There are some lions on the other side of the river, so they take advantage and hunt on them. So these are some of the pictures, though my picture is not very clear. You see all the spots, all those are wildebeest. And normally the wildebeest move in lines. They move in lines. They don't like move like anyhow. They normally move in line. That is how they migrate. And then another thing is we have some special animals, like last year, we will actually be able to encounter or to see this young zebra that is melanistic. The genes are a bit different. She has more black spots than white. She doesn't actually have the real white stripes like the zebra. As you can see, these are the zebras. she's completely black. So the first person to see this one was a guide called Jonathan Tira. That is why this young zebra was given the name Tira. So she was born in Kenya, but when the migration happened to go to the Serengeti side, she also migrated to Serengeti. So this year, we are actually expecting to see her back if she's still alive. And then at the moment, the wildebeest are not yet in Maasai Mara National Reserve. So the migration this year have been delayed a little bit. And this is because there is a lot of rains in both sides, that is Maasai Mara and Serengeti National Park. So there is plenty of food in both sides. And another thing, so that is actually the main thing. Also, Serengeti and Maasai Mara management, they are actually burning grass in both sides. So that can also be one of the challenge why these wildebeests are not coming, because they can see smoke coming, and also they can be able to see fire. So that can also be a challenge. So the reason why they are burning it is because the predators have big challenge on hunting now because of tall grass. So when it comes to predation, all predators are waiting for these wildebeest to come so that they can actually be able to get food. Number one, we have the cheetahs. These are the 5 cheetahs. We call them Tanobora, meaning best 5. They are actually very, very famous cheetahs in Maasai Mara National Reserve. We actually still have them. And they are very, very strong coalition, whereby they terrorize all kind of herbivores we have in Maasai Mara, the wildebeest, the topis, zebras, young zebras, I mean, and then also the eland. Remember, the eland are one of the biggest antelope, and also they are the most shyest antelope. So there was twice they actually hunted the eland, these 5 cheetahs. So I'm sure some of you have been to the Maram, they have seen them. So for those that are still coming, you're very much welcome, and we pray that you'll still get them, all of them live. Then these are the kind of the pictures you actually get when these wildebeests are crossing. You take pictures, videos, and all that. It's a very, very interesting thing that you can see. And then when it comes to mating of wildebeests, they normally make a lot of noise, as you can hear from that video. So they normally make a lot of noise. That is mostly for the male wildebeest. You see also, maybe you can see some of them running. This is actually how mating take place. These wildebeests are not like any other animal on earth, whereby they stick on one cow. For example, for the wildebeest, they can actually be able to mate anyhowly. If a male get a female that is on heat, he just mount on her, and that is it. So mating of wildebeest is one of the fastest thing. It is even sometimes difficult to get a picture when the wildebeest are mating. They are very, very, very fast. So they also run, the male also run all over, so that they can actually try to patrol or have territories. They are a bit territorial, not 100%, but they normally try to run to fight with the others, so that no one can be able to come and take the female that he was mating with, or even so that they can be able to get a new one that they can actually be able to do mating with. Also, you see in this wildebeest, they are young wildebeest, they are calves. So you see this calf, they have actually grown enough, so they can be able to cross the river. So they were born in the month of mid-January, February, and March. So if the wildebeest are of this year are coming mid this month, and their calf were born in February, that is actually many months, and they are big, and they can actually be able to cross the rivers. So you can also get the pictures of the wildebeest during sunsets. That is videos. You can actually be able to get the videos or even pictures. So whichever you want. In Maasai Mara, the big plains, open land, you can actually be able to get whatever you want. And then when it comes to Mara River, this is actually where big challenges are, because the wildebeests are crossing again from the main Mara to Mara Triangle, or from Mara Triangle to the main Mara. And this is where you get to find they get killed by the crocodiles. So these crocodiles are also biggest enemies of the wildebeest. And actually, I want to give you some information about the crocodiles. As you can see in this video, it's a small group of crocodiles. They are actually eating a zebra. This zebra was killed in the video that I show you when the wildebeest were crossing. So they killed it, whereby they take it and try to drown under the water. So that is actually what happened. So for the crocodiles, these crocodiles we have are the Nile crocodiles. They are mainly the ones that are found in Maasai Mara National Reserve or Mara River. And then you can actually get the longest one from 3.5 or even up to 5 meters long. And actually, they are very, very heavy. When you get a fully grown up one, they can weigh between 500 to 700 kilograms. And then also, the crocodiles are territorial. They have territories, whereby these crocodiles live in small families or even relatives. So that's why the male, mainly male, are territorial. So they also have an excellent, they are very, very good in sighting. The crocodiles can see very well when it comes to sighting. So when they are hunting, sometimes when there is no many animals that they can actually be able to hunt in the water, they can walk on land, whereby they can run up to 14 kilometers per hour. That is on land, comparing to water, whereby in water they can actually be able to swim and go a speed of 30 to 35 kilometers per hour. So they have very good eyesight. They can also hear very well. And that's why when there is something approaching the water, they actually take out the eye only. You can actually be able to see the eye, and they see what is that noise they are hearing. And then also they have taste. They have taste when they are eating. They can actually, they also have taste. Then crocodiles, sometimes you find them basking in the water or outside the water. Mainly the dominant male normally take the best places for basking, and then at the same time when it comes to food, they always try to harass the rest and also always eat, be the first one to eat and all that. Then when it comes to female, when they are giving or laying eggs, they normally dig uh, small holes on the banks of a river, whereby they lay the eggs on it and cover. So they lay between 30 to 35 eggs or even 20 and all that. And then at the same time, the incubation period is around 90 days. That is like 3 months incubation period. Then when these crocodile are sitting on the eggs, if the temperatures are high, that actually means the number of male that will be hatched are higher than female. So it is definitely the temperatures that determine the sex of the crocodile or the hatchlings, the one that will be hatched. So if temperatures are low, the low and the highest temperature actually depend on how frequent or how much time is that female taking when she's sitting on the eggs. So if temperatures are high, the number of male hatchling will actually be high. Then when this young crocodile will be hatched after 90 days, the mother will put them in the mouth, that is from the bank of the river, like to put them inside and carry them to the water. When she carry them to the water, that is it. The mother cannot actually be able to provide food for these young crocodiles. They will struggle for themselves. So the moment they are dropped in the water, the mother struggle for herself and the young ones struggle for themselves, whereby they normally try to hunt on frogs. We also have small insects inside the water or small marine animals, and then also the fish, whereby fish is the main food for crocodiles when there is no meat, for example, when there is no prey that are coming to cross or drink water so that they can be able to be uh, to be cut. Then normally the hierarchy of the crocodiles depends on the size, whereby the biggest is always in high rank, is always the leader. So that actually determine who is the first one to eat food, as I told you earlier, and also who will take the best places for basking. Then also the crocodile mouth, when they are swimming in the water, the tongue is always on the upper side of the mouth, not down like us, it is up. So the reason why, it is actually because they need the tongue to be up so that when they are swimming, the tongue can be able to close the throat side so that nothing can be able to enter the throat without the permission of the crocodile. So that's why they normally swim or can hold breath for a long time without swallowing water for even up to 2 hours, because the tongue can be able to close uh, the windpipe or the throat so that they don't swallow anything. That is the same thing happen when the crocodiles are opening up their mouth when they are basking. So even if they are small birds that can enter the mouth and eat anything that is on the teeth or in the mouth, like small insect, they cannot be able to go inside because it is closed. So the reason why even the crocodiles actually open their mouth when they are basking is to regulate body temperatures, to release the heat that is actually in the body. And then another reason why these crocodiles can hold breath for long, I told you last time, it's actually because of high level of lactic acid. The lactic acid that is actually in big percentage in their blood, whereby this lactic acid normally produce energy. There are cells that produce energy, and then it can actually enable the crocodiles to hold the breath for a long time. So I hope that one is understood a bit. And then when it comes to hunting, they normally move when they rely on movement. For example, I told you earlier, when there is no anything that is coming to the water so that they can kill, they can actually kill on land. They can go on land and kill, and also they use pressure for scents. They use pressure for scents when they are underwater. They can actually use pressure to do that. They also they can also stay for a long time. That is, for example, 6 months or even 1 year without eating food. And this is actually because they have the ectothermic metabolism in their body that actually allow them to survive in long time without food. So that actually help them to do like something to do like hibernation, whereby in places like Masai Mara, the greatest food the wild this crocodile get is when the migration is there. So they can actually be able to survive for 6 months or so without food before the wildebeest come. And normally they use the fats in their body to survive, and also they reduce the movement, unnecessary movement, so that they can be able to reserve their food. So that is actually how much I can actually tell you today about the crocodile. And then now we also have lions as one of the other predator that actually hunt the wildebeest when they come. So like this picture, this video actually took at Sand River. You see the water is very small. So the wildebeest were actually crossing from Maasai Mara to Serengeti side. So these females are in the Sand River Pride. They are very, very close to the Sand River camp, whereby you saw in the picture. So they can move both sides, that is Maasai Mara and Serengeti National Park. Sometimes that is if the territory is around 16 kilometers. And then we also have cheetahs. These are the 5 cheetahs. They were actually killing so these 5 cheetahs, they brought down this very, very big wildebeest. And actually you see they have to unite for them to bring down such a big animal. As you can see, this male is actually trying to take out the testicles because this was a male wildebeest. And the moment he does that, the testicle actually make this wildebeest to be more weaker. And actually the others can be able to hold and bring him down. And also you see this one is holding on the throat. So it is like everyone has the duty. They have to participate, all of them, so that they can be able to kill this wildebeest. So because when you see them running, it is always one that start run, and he's very, very slimmer than the others. So I guess he's actually the fastest. As you know, the average speed of the cheetah is 114 kilometers per hour. So they are the fastest animals on land. So they also get food when the wildebeest come, whereby wildebeest are actually the easiest prey whereby the cheetahs can hunt compared to tortoise and also compared to zebras. These cheetahs 5-1, they rarely kill Thompson gazelles because they are very, very small for them. So they prefer big prey. Like impala, when the tortoise are not there, they try to hunt impala, young zebras, young elands, and all that. So that is all about the cheetahs. That is still them, some pictures. And then we also have the leopards. This is a very, very famous leopard called Luluka. So when these wildebeest were crossing this small stream, this picture I took at a place called Orkejurongai. It is actually a small stream that cross inside or in the middle of Maasai Mara National Reserve. That is the main Mara. So these wildebeest were crossing from one side to the other, and we didn't realize there was a leopard around. I just saw the leopard going under my car, and definitely she catch the wildebeest. We were the only one there, so it was really, really interesting. It is one of the best leopard hunt that I've ever seen. So they also take advantage and hunt on the wildebeest. Then, when it comes to lions, the lions are the kings of jungle, but the buffalo can definitely challenge them. So for these lions, the picture that you can see, it is actually how I want to start on how the lions get from mating to young ones up to old age. So it is like the life of a lion as an animal. So it actually start with the female, whereby the female become hyperactive. She becomes hyper, like a lot of things happening in her body, whereby she starts to make some kind of roaring. She also starts to mark scents, like to mark to urine, to mark the places. And then also she frequently roll now and then. That is definitely the signs of her being in oestrus, that is on heat. And that is now the time the male that is closer have to take their first chances before any other lion in the pride notice that this female is in oestrus, whereby you can see in this picture, this male is actually trying to smell on her private or on her organ to see if there are some urine that have come out, so that he can actually be able to smell like what he's doing. This process is called gramise, whereby the male tests on the female urine to see if she's on heat or on oestrus or not. So this is actually what happens. So we call this kind of behavior the gramise. So the moment he realized the female is in oestrus, then he's ready to approach the female, whereby in the first picture, you see it is actually the female that is putting up the tail to show the signs that yes, I'm ready. Because it is definitely the female that starts to show the interest, and then now the male will approach. So if the female say no, there is nothing a male can do. So we come here, then now we come to mating, whereby mating take between 4 to 7 days, whereby the lions can actually do the mating, the ejaculation for 40 times a day, 40 times or more. So when you find lions mating after every 15 minutes to 20 minutes or even less, at the beginning, it is even less than 15 minutes they are doing it. So they can do 40 times or more than 40 times a day, whereby the female normally sit and their front legs are always straight, and then hind legs are always sitting like she's ready to move. Then when it comes to that, you see this male lion is actually biting on the neck of the female. This biting will actually help the male. When he bites, the whole muscles of the female relax, and when they relax, the penis of the male have some spikes, whereby it is painful when it penetrates to the female. So the female actually feel a lot of pain, and she will try to bite the male or to scratch him. So that's why this male is biting, so that the all muscle relax, even the vaginal muscles, so that the male can be able to get out. Because the moment the muscles are tight, the male cannot be able to get out. So he has to bite, and then the vaginal muscle relax, and then he gets out. So the moment he gets out, there is always this kind of teeth showing, whereby both male and female make some kind of roar for signs of danger, whereby the male have to protect himself, and at the same time the female have to tell him to get away because she is feeling pain. So after that, now the female have to roll over for the ovulation to take place. Then the male now come out in a different phase. As you can see, this male is a real beast. So that is actually what happened when it comes to lions mating. Uh, they have to bite to relax and also to roll for ovulation to take place. So another thing is the gestation period, that is pregnancy period of lion, can actually take up to 110 days. When it takes 110 days, they give birth to a litter between uh, uh, 3 or even 4 to 6 cubs, or 3 to 4 cubs, or 2 to 4 cubs. It depends. So most of the time, the survival of the litter will actually depend on the size of the pride. If the pride is bigger, then security is very tight, and the lions, that is the lioness and the male lions, can actually be able to defend their territory, whereby the cubs are there tomorrow. So it actually mostly depends how much the percentage of this litter survival. So it depends on the size of the pride, how many males, how many females are in the pride. And then when these young ones are 2 to 2.5 years, for the male, this is actually the time they grow the man. At the same time, it is the time they start to be chased out of the pride. They get chased out of the pride by the big males because of two reasons. Reason number one, competition of females. This young male will also be on a stage whereby they want to do mating. So it is competition with these big males. So these big males have to chase them away to go and get their own territory. Reason number two, there is also competition of food, because these males are getting older and these ones are growing and they are more stronger. They can actually do a competition of food with these big males, so they have to be chased away. Then now these are the kind of injuries they get. They can actually get a serious fight by big males, and actually uh, they go with very, very bad injuries sometimes. Others get killed, even if it is their fathers. They can actually kill them. Then this is now the time this young male have to unite as brothers, or even uh, neighbors. They unite to form what is called a coalition. When they form a coalition, now they have to fight first before the coalition is complete. Fighting means who is the leader. They actually have to get dominancy. So after fighting, now they can actually decide to go and form to form a coalition, whereby they have to go and get their own territory. And getting this territory is a big challenge, because they have to go to other places. When they find females, definitely they want to do mating with these females. But what about if these females have cubs? They actually have to kill this cub so that the female can be in oestrus, that is, can be on heat. And the moment she's on heat, they get mating with her. She gets cubs, and they go on by starting their own pride. Number two, they also have to kill the cubs because they believe the genes of those cubs are stronger than theirs. So there is a fight over waiting, or there is a thrown over waiting. So they have to kill them so that there is no competition coming later. So their own cubs, they know it's their own genes, and actually there won't be much competition compared to if they raise the cubs of other lions. So this young male also, they can kill for themselves, that is to get food. And then they can actually kill big prey, because you cannot compare the hunting of males and female, because male have two challenges. Number one, they are more masculine, so they cannot be able to streamline or to run faster for hunting. Number two, they also have the men, whereby sometimes it makes them difficult to camouflage while hunting. Then now it comes to when the lion is actually uh, half age, because the lion live 12 to 15 years, but up to 20 years in captivity. Captivity is places like a zoo. So in captivity, they don't have to fight for territory. They don't have to fight for food. They don't have to fight for female. So they're in good life. They don't get injuries when they are hunting, because they are being fed in the zoo. But these lions in the wild, they can live 12 to 15 years. Life is very, very difficult for them. So the male lions actually get darker men as time goes. That is when they actually grow up, it becomes more darker. But this actually depends on the genes of the lion, because we have some lions whereby the genes cannot be more darker. Like for example, this is Scarface. You see his mane is much dark. He's more than 10 years old. So the mane is actually becoming more darker because of the age, but it depends on the genes. We have some lions whereby even if the lion is more than 10 years, the mane cannot become dark like this one. And then also remember, the temperature of the place also determine the growth of the mane for the lion. This, what I mean is, these male that are found in hot places, they actually grow small men. This is because the small men cannot sweat and attract bacteria. So they normally have to reduce the size of the men. Number two, the lions that are found in moderate temperature or even in cold places, they grow more men because they need, there is no that sweating too much that actually destroy their neck by attracting bacteria. So the reason why the male have men, it actually protect them or the neck and the throat while fighting for territory. So that is a main advantage of the men for the men lions. And then you cannot use the men to age the lion because of the reason that I told you. It's not all male that can actually get the big men. So if we were to use the men to age the lion, remember the females, that is the lioness, are not, they are manless. So how can you age the lion? We normally use the color of the nose. The color of the nose, when the young male are birth to 2 to 2.5 years, the nose is pink. As you can see, this young male, the nose is still pink. And when they are 3 years up to 6 years, 6.5, the nose actually change to some colors that is pink with some small dots. So that shows this lion is between 4 to 6.5 years. And then now from 7 years, 8 years and above, the nose start to turn black. So this cannot tell you the exact age of the lion, but it will give you an approximation of a rough idea how old the lion is. So that is what we use when we age the lion. Then Uh, this male are actually the main, uh, the main kingpins of the pride because they have to protect the pride, that is by helping the female from intruders. So in the circumference of 16 kilometers, which is the territory of the lion, the males sometimes isolate themselves from the pride, so they can only come when it comes to food, they can join them, or when it comes to mating. But they are not always very far because they can be able to tell if there are some intruders because they can be able to know communication that is coming within the pride, within the territory, whereby lions roar for communication. That is actually communication in different kinds. They roar, special kind of roar, when the female is calling for the cubs, when the female is calling for the rest of the pride when she makes a kill, when the female is in oestrus, she also make communication by roaring to try to search for the male. The lion also communicates when a whole pride roar in a chorus. This actually shows the social bond of the pride, that they are very, very social. Also, the lions roar to intimidate the enemies, that is the intruding lions. That is mostly goes to the male lions, whereby the bigger the male, that is the muscles, the louder the roar they can make. And therefore, the enemies will be able to know the size of the lion that is in the next territory. So they roar to intimidate enemies. Then, so that's why you find when young male form a coalition, they hardly separate when times goes. And they can actually, even if they separate for some time, when they are getting old, they have to find each other, to search each other because they don't have much energy to protect themselves when they go single. They can actually get killed easily. So they have to reunite again if they have dispersed a bit. Like for example, the six pack. Those are very, very famous coalition of six male in Masai Mara. They have actually gone to different parts of the park. Some are in Mara Triangle, some are in the main Mara. So that means they can still come together after some time to unite again so that they can protect themselves from the young lions that are coming up. And then this is Scarface. You see, he doesn't have the right hand eye. This is actually, might have lost it. I don't know what happened. He might have lost it because of fighting for territory or even fighting or killing prey like buffaloes and all that. So even like a giraffe can actually kill a lion by single kick, whereby they punch or they kick with their front legs and all that. And then also we have uh, lions whereby they are the laziest cats of all the cats we have because the lions can sleep between 16 to 20 hours or to 18 hours. That is mostly can sleep even more than that when they are full. When they eat a lot of food, the digestive system is normally very slow. So if it is slow, then it can actually take time to digest. So they can rest for long hours. Then the bush you can see this lion is sleeping on, it's actually called the orange-leaved croton tree, whereby when the lions rub themselves on it, it produces a certain kind of smell that is always an insect repellent. So it's like a self-defense mechanism from insects, that is the flies, and sometimes the flies. So most of the time in the Mara Serengeti ecosystem, you find lion sleeping on these croton trees. And then also you see what this male is doing. He's actually shaking the neck. After when he came to this tree, he was trying to rub himself on it. This is actually a way that they can mark territory, whereby when they rub themselves on the tree, there are those small hair that actually remain on that tree, whereby if there is another lion coming, he will be able to get that scent by smelling on the hair that was the fur that was actually remained on the tree, and he'll be able to know this territory is taken. Then also, as you see, the uh, his his tail is up. He's actually spraying on that tree. This actually means he's leaving the scent to that tree for the same purpose to mark territory. And then we also have lions hunting. Most of the time, the biggest percentage of lion hunting is actually taken by females, that is in big percentage compared to male. This is because the females are less masculine, so they can actually be able to run faster. And the speed of the lion is 80 kilometers per hour. 80 kilometers per hour means they can actually run very short distance. They don't withstand the speed. They run very short distance to catch the prey. So it's like a kind of ambush. They stalk a lot and then they ambush. And these lions, they are also very heavy, the female, but they are not heavier than male because the average weight of the lion range between 190 kgs to 250 kilograms. That is where the range of the lion weight is. So when these lions hunt, they normally jump on the animal, and remember the claws of the lions are always inside. We call them, they have retractable claws, whereby they are always inside. So the moment they jump on the animal, they come out, and it helps them to go inside and weaken what they are hunting on. Then they jump. So you can see on that picture, the whole leg is actually on the side of the wildebeest, and she's biting on the ram. Then she takes down and they start to strangle. That is actually the way they kill, by strangling. Then you see this female is very, very clever. She has to go on the side so that when the wildebeest was uh, being suffocated, was trying to take legs all over. So the lioness had to go the other side to escape injuries from the wildebeest. Then when it comes to hunting, what normally happened, the lioness had, like when this kill was happening, I was there. This lioness that made a kill, she actually had to call the others to make a very, very small vocal sound that is hardly to hear as a human being. But at the same time, when the lions are sleeping in one place as a pride, when one move, they always communicate like to rub on each other. That is a kind of communication. They can be rubbing on each other for greetings, but if they were sleeping in one place and one female sees something, she has to rub on each other for communication to tell that I'm going, and the others have to keep an eye and see where she went. So that if, for example, the kill have taken place in a very, very far place, then they can be able to follow her. So in that case, this female, they actually, you see, it's like a kind of greetings, and also say thank you for the food. So that is actually what is happening. So after this, if the pride has cubs, the cubs also have to come. If they are far away, like in that case, in this pride, it is called Lenkwayana pride, they actually have a lot of cubs by then. So the female had to eat. After eating, the male came whereby you see in this video, there is this male running, coming to where the food is. And then after this, the one female had to go and call the cubs to come and eat the carcass. It is actually, they finish like everything, but the one female has to go and call the cubs. So most of the people say when the lioness make the kill, it is always the male that feed first, but that is wrong. That is not true. It actually depends on the distance between the pride and the kill, where the food is. If the food is far away from the pride, the female have to continue eating because they also have enemies like hyenas. Vultures can come in large number and disturb her. So she normally have to continue eating and try to call the rest if they are far away. If they are not far away, all of them can eat, even the male. As you can see in this picture, listen, the sound. They don't see. Yeah. I guess you heard the sound. That is actually a sound of intimidation. This male is trying to intimidate the female so that he can get space to eat. But the female calmed down. They didn't say anything, but they give him a chance to eat as well. So you actually saw from the first video, the female made the kill, and the first place she ate is the stomach. That is actually where she ate, where my mouse is. This is where she started because it is one of the softest place. So that is where she started while the rest are coming. So at the same time, when the male came, uh, he actually ran to the softer part, whereby they start the soft part, they go to the sticks and all that. So the male always try to intimidate the female, but if the female are not shying off, they all eat together. But if there were young males in this place, the male could have come direct and start fighting with the young male because of food competition. It's not now female competition, food competition. So you have to make sure he chases the young male away, but now these ones are females only. So even if the young cubs come, this young male will give them a chance to eat because it is his own cubs. There is a small of raw sometime, but he give a chance for them to eat. So what Scarface and Hunt are doing is a kind of communication whereby they were sleeping in one area and they want to move to another place. Then you see now what happened here, it's a lot of lives. It's like the world pride. This female that is actually sitting without eating, she's the matriarch. She's actually the leader of the group. She's the oldest female of the pride. And she's the one that made the kill of the warthog because I was there from the beginning to the end. So she's the one that catch the warthog. So he was punching a lot, like breathing heavily. And the rest of the pride came and eat. So this actually tell us the socialness or how a strong bond lions can form when it comes to food or even protection of each other. So they actually ate and finished everything. She got very small piece to eat after some minutes because the warthog is very small when it comes to a bigger pride. So this actually shows the socialness of the social bond of the pride. Then you can actually see a lot of flies coming to the female to lick the blood. So this is actually the time when they start eat, they finish eating, when they are resting on the croton bush, as much as they try to wrap themselves before they start resting, the other females, because of happiness and all that, they try to lick each other to clean, to prevent a lot of insect from coming to them. Because if this insect come to this female, it will come to the whole tribe. So they try to lick each other for cleanness. So that is what happened. Then now you see another good picture. The buffalo is actually chasing a female lioness. The hunted become opposite. The hunter become hunted. So that is what happened. That's why we say, yes, lions are the king of the jungles, but not with the buffaloes. That's why the lions of the Lake Nakuru National Park climb trees for protection from buffaloes attack. And then also we have a lot of species of birds in Masai Mara. We have 450 species. We have also a lot of raptors, that is vultures, eagles, and all that. We also have owls in the place. Mostly, I've seen a lot the Ferox eagle owl. That is the biggest owl we have there. They are found them. I know places where you can actually be able to see them along the Sand River area. I've seen a lot of them in that area. And then that is a tawny eagle. That is a black shouldered kite. That is also the pintail wider. We have the both red and yellow-beaked oxpeckers. They actually help in the symbiotic way to giraffes or to herbivores, whereby they eat the ticks or dantrax. So both the oxpecker and the herbivores benefit. So that is a symbiotic kind of benefit, not a commensalism benefit like between the herbivores and the cattle egret, whereby the cattle egret depend on the grass disturbance by the herbivores, and then they take advantage to feed on the insect coming out. Then we have the agobasset, it is there. We also have the hopi, they are found in the area, that is Masai Mara. The southern ground hornbill, they are also found in Masai Mara National Reserve. And then we have the black-chested snake eagle. We also have this bird. This bird is called the rufous-tailed sparrow. These birds are actually endemic to northern Serengeti and southern Masai Mara National Reserve, whereby that is the only place you can find them. So when you go to Masai Mara, there are a place called Lookout Hills, not far from the Mara River. This is actually the place you can be able to see them. So maybe Anupam, you might have gone to Lookout Hills when you came to Masai Mara, maybe to go and see the view of the place. So that is actually the place you can be able to find this bird in Masai Mara National Reserve towards the Sand River Serengeti area. So this is actually the bird that you should not miss. When you go to Mara, you have to do a thorough search to get it. So we also have tour land cruisers, that is for photography, whereby you see the bin bags, there is actually enough space. Sometimes we take some seats and we put the mattress so that when you are kneeling down to take pictures, your knees cannot be able to hurt by the metallic body of the car. So we are 100% equipped when it comes to photography, safari. So that is the kind of vehicle that you don't even have to come with your bin bags. We have enough bin bags for our clients and all that. Then we pick you right from the airport. So you see two different pictures. This is actually when you're in the field, and this is when we pick you from the airport. So all the zips you can see, it's actually you open when you're feeling, it's very hot inside. So every seat has its own zip, so that if you want some fresh air and I don't want, you don't have to disturb me. Just open yours and leave mine. So that is the kind of the zip that we put. It's a very, very good one. So, so it's just some small pictures that I had to share so that you can be able to see the kind of vehicles that we have. We also do camping safari, whereby we have the roof tent, whereby it can accommodate 2 people. So maybe you don't want to stay in the hotels. You can actually take this kind of a car and do your game drives and all that, and sleep in the car that is in the campsite in the bush. So if in that case, you cannot be able to open the roof for this one. So mostly you will use the windows when it comes to game drive, of which for photographers and many people, the roof is mostly for viewing. When it comes to uh, photos, we mostly use the windows. So it's not that much necessary when it comes to camping safari with this kind of a vehicle. So that is all. We also do bush sundowners. That is mostly at the last day of the safari. Maybe you're in Mara for 2 nights, 3 nights, 1 month. At the last day, we normally do sundowner. We don't tell you, we actually surprise you. But for you, I'm not giving you a secret. I will not give you sundowner when you come, but we do sundowner. I don't want you to know that you'll get something. So it will just be a surprise. So we normally do that to appreciate our clients and all that. So I'm talking about Tayai Safaris, or me as a company or as a tour operator in Kenya. So that is what we do for the last day. We also, so these are, we do serve Kenya wines, the Tusker, that is beer for Kenya and all that. We also do bush breakfast, bush lunch. We do that out there in the wild. Maybe Anup, when you are in Mara, maybe you are around Lookout Hills, you took some blanket and sit under the tree for lunch. So,
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sure.
we normally take, I as a tour operator at Taye Safaris, I have this kind of seats and a table whereby I can fold and put in the car. So it is very, very special. You don't have to sit on the ground. So you just sit as if you're in the restaurant, but in the bush, bush restaurant, and enjoy your meals and ready to go. So
This is fantastic.
yes, so I just want to play a small video for you to say thank you so much, to appreciate you, and also to see my work. Enjoy.
Lenny, I think so. We are not able to hear the voice of the audio of the video that you're playing.
Oh, you can't hear?
No. I think so. It is not audible.
Okay, let me see.
I think, Vileni, you can increase the volume of the media player all the way up. Maybe you can start the video all over again, no problem. Yeah.
So that's all. And thank you so much
Awesome.
for your time. Thank you for your patience. So if you want to reach us on Facebook, on Instagram, you can actually get me Lenny Koshal. Those are the names that I use. My company website is there, Taye Safaris Limited. We are a limited company and we have the website. So you can actually use the website to choose the kind of safari that you want to do. And thank you so much. And I allow you to ask any question, if any. Santi sana.
Yes, so we'll have a very quick question and answer session. First of all, Alpana Gone had a question about the melanated zebra that we were speaking about. So her question was, during the last migration, when the same zebra calf left Masai Mara to Serengeti, did they spot the same zebra calf in Serengeti?
What happened is we have never got any update about Tira.
Okay.
The last update we have about Tira is the moment she crossed Sand River to Serengeti National Park. So we don't have any information. We have been trying to ask our colleagues, that is the guides from the Tanzanian side, but unfortunately they haven't seen it. So I don't think there is any photographer that took the picture of Tira in Serengeti side, unless it is someone that we have not seen on social media posting. Maybe they took it and they didn't post it, but I have not seen any.
Great, great. Also, another question that we have is from Adam Zedebel. Adam wants to know, what is the best time this year in 2020 to visit Kenya? I mean, yeah, it's a very I understand what Adam is trying to ask. It is, we all are desperate to escape to the wilderness of.
Okay, okay. I
Sure,
have
it's
an
our
answer.
curiosity.
I have an answer for Adam. Thank you for that question. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this is actually the best time to visit the park from now. But unfortunately, I don't think there is flights at the moment that can travel anywhere in the world. But the moment the Kenyan government open airspace and lift all the lockdowns and all that, I can assure you, because the wildebeest migration delayed this year because of the 7 months of rain in both sides, so there is plenty of food, you can actually be able to see the migration from September, October, and I believe up to November. Open airspace. Yes, so you can actually be able to visit the park from August, September, and so on, because we are 100% ready to receive all the clients or the guests that are coming to Kenya, because we are much prepared as a country, as it was announced by the government this week. All rules and regulation will be followed. They are already gazetted and will be followed as guides to make sure that all goes well the moment the tourists start to visit Kenya. So because of that delay, if you are very much interested in migration and cats, I can recommend from September henceforth up to December, you can actually come. But let it be from September to mid-November and all that. That is the time I believe the wildebeest will be going back to Serengeti, because they have come late. I guess they will also go back a bit later. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Lenny, for your well explained answer.
Hi, Lenny. This
Hi,
is Bristow.
hi,
Actually, I
Bristol.
have a question regarding this migration. Is there is any package or possibility to follow the migration between Serengeti and Mara, or you can either choose one side?
Actually, it is very possible for anyone to request or to get a package that start from Tanzania, Serengeti to Masai Mara. But if you want to follow this wildebeest from January to December, then that is a long, long, long time. If you are a filmmaker, then you can actually be able to follow them to see what happened in each and every month and in each and every place that these wildebeest go through. But yes, we have a combined package of Serengeti Masai Mara, whereby you can actually, depending on the where the wildebeest are at the moment that you are traveling, we will be able to give you a package and book you a hotel or a camp that is actually in the hotspot of the thing or the site that you want to see. When it comes to Masai Mara, I've already told you on the map, if wildebeest are crossing between Triangle and Main Mara, I will book you the hotels that are actually along the river so that you can be able to see their migration. If they are coming from Serengeti side, Serena, Sand River, you can still access when you are staying in any part of the Mara. So yes, we have that kind of packages whereby you can be able to follow that migration. At the same time, we have some Facebook groups that are some people that update about migration on Tanzanian side. When it comes to Kenya side, like tomorrow or Monday, I will actually be in the park. I will go through the border for game drive, and I will do some live videos, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So that is the kind of updates that we have about the migration. We have some guides that are already in Masai Mara now. What they are sharing is the resident wildebeests are in full force in Masai Mara, but the ones that are coming from Serengeti are not yet there because there is enough food there. Also, the borderlines, it has a lot of fire. So maybe those are the two reasons why the wildebeests are delaying from coming to Kenya. So yes, we have the combined packages of Serengeti and Masai Mara.
Perfect. Lenny,
Thank you.
I have a small question. Many of the land cruisers over there have power outlets in their land cruisers, and it is very crucial at times when you are doing full day safaris, right from 6 a.m. to say 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So do you offer that kind of an addition in your vehicle where you have power sockets in your vehicle?
Actually, in my vehicles, I don't know if you can. In my vehicles, we have the inverters. I don't think, you cannot be able to see. We have the inverters,
yes,
and charging points. So
oh, yeah.
I can tell you, you can, if you want to go online, like live, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct.
you have power. I will provide power. Yes. So in my cars, you can even charge your batteries.
Yes.
Then if, for example, the camp electricity goes off, you can charge your camera batteries in the car. So it is 100% well equipped.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
That answers my question.
Yeah, Karibu.
Yes. Any other questions from Facebook platform? I've already asked them, and I hope we are done with the questions that we have. Lenny, I have one question that I would like to clarify.
Yes.
It is pertaining to the crocodiles. So I understand, unlike many crocodiles, the Nile crocodile does not have this behavior of going into a hibernation, probably because they are getting periodic food. But the time when the crossing is not happening, the dry season, I'm sure there is no sufficient food supply. How about the behavior of crocodiles during that time?
Now, in places like the Mara River, we have some fish. They eat fish.
Okay.
At the same time, when it is when the wildebeests are not around, and for example, there is water scarcity in Masai Mara, it is hardly for Mara River to get dry. It can get dry, but not like 100%.
Okay.
So the crocodiles also walk on land for hunting.
Oh, okay.
They can actually be able to see very, very well at night. Not like lions, but they can see at night. So they go out for hunting on the river banks or even some distance away from the river bank. So that's why I said they can actually be able to run 14 kilometers per hour on land.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can swim 30 to 35 kilometers per hour in water. Yes, so they depend on the fish, and also they move out for hunting. Also, when the lions hunt on the banks of the rivers, the crocodiles move out of the water to scavenge on the lion's food.
Okay.
And I have seen that in Masai Mara many times.
All right. All right.
Yes, mostly when the lions hunt hippos.
Okay.
The hippos are going back to water because hippos are herbivores, whereby they go at night for grazing because they have very sensitive skin, whereby they cannot go out during the day. It is very, very few times you see them out during the day. They have to remain in the water because of the sensitive skin. So when they go out, they graze for 5 to 6 hours. When they are coming back or when they are in danger, they always try to secure themselves to run back to the rivers. So if the kill happen on the banks of the river, the crocodile move to go and scavenge the lions.
Thank you very much, Lenny, for that well-explained answer.
Karibu.
Great.
Karibu sana. Welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, John, would you like to add on something, please? Is John online?
Yes, I think so. He's there.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific other than just say, Lenny, that I really appreciate you're taking the time to give the presentation, and also your dedication to conservation, and also your passion for the wildlife, and you can tell that just in the way you present the material. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your passion about wildlife.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the beautiful pictures that you normally share on the group. It is really amazing. I'm really impressed, and thank you for joining. I hope to see you soon, sometime here in Kenya.
Great, thanks, Lenny.
Karibu sana.
Lenny, I
Thanks
have
a
a
lot,
question.
Lenny. Thank you.
I have a
Thank you.
question
Thank you
again
very
from
much.
Facebook, Lenny. One sec. Sorry to pull you back. The
No
question is
problem.
from Anchita. Okay. So Anchita is asking, is night safari allowed in Mara?
Night safari, it's a bit tricky. It's not allowed in Mara. Apart from people, for example, maybe if you go to the Mara Triangle side, that can be possible. But in the main Mara, it's a bit tricky. But if it is something that is very necessary, there is something that you want to do that can only happen at night, then you can talk to the park management and you will be given the game rangers, whereby they can take you out at night so that you can take, for example, photography and all that. So you need a reason why. Why do you want to do a night game drive? So you need to give a reasonable reason as why. But in Mara, it's not allowed in the main Mara, but sometimes we see it in the Mara Triangle. It happens.
Great. Great.
Okay, Lenny, I have a question. Sorry, Paul. Just the last one that I have. I mean, I have heard a lot about off-road permits that are generally taken on request from the photographers, and photographers need off-road permits. So, what is the actual meaning of off-road, and how is it different from a non-off-roading vehicle and an off-roading vehicle?
Now the difference is you get an off-road permit, but you don't have to misuse it. Misusing means when there is an animal just on the roadside, because you have off-road permit, like to go out of the road on the grass, you just go anyhowly. You misuse it because you have it. It is not actually allowed, but off-road means you can go over the grass, but with a lot of restriction. You don't have to misuse it. For example, if at the same time other tourists are around, you also don't have like to go and block their pictures, because you have the off-road permit. You don't have like to go and block their picture and all that. So you also need a lot of respect. You really need to respect the rules that are actually there. And also for off-road, if there are closed areas, that no one is allowed to do game drive, sometimes it can restrict you, even if you have it, to go to those closed areas. Unless now, for example, when you took off-road, you said, Anupan, I'm following Tanobora, the 5 cheetahs. So if they go to the closed area, please, I want to follow them because maybe the hunting will happen there and all that. So then that will be understandable. And at the same time, the game rangers will always be around to monitor on how you are using that off-road.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
answers my query.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you very much, Lenny, again for a
Thank you.
fantastic session. It was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
And really love the presentation, the images that you've taken. And man, you're an encyclopedia when it comes to African wildlife. I should give you that, Lenny. It is awesome. Your knowledge about each animal behavior and so much details and the way you identify them with their anatomy. Like today, you explained about the lions, the different types of manes they have. What is the age of a lion? How to calculate? I never knew that before. How to estimate an age of a lion, as you mentioned, because of the nose color and etc. So it's fantastic. It's really unique, and we are very happy, and we appreciate a lot for your time for WNWP and for these webinars. It has been fantastic series, part 1, part 2, part 3. I feel that the missed tour has been fulfilled with these 3 webinars. It has been amazing, Lenny. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Lenny.
Thank you, Lenny. Thank you a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. I hope to see you soon when Corona is gone. I hope to see you in Kenya.
Definitely.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yes. Thank you so much. Lala
Thank you very much, Lenny. Bye-bye. Lala salama.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.